We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Life as a Chad YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here, wherever you may be. And of course, however you may be listening. So you never know what gems you're going to get when you have the time to actually watch YouTube videos. And you spend fucking 5-10. Usually for me, I'll spend a decent chunk watching YouTube before work, maybe a little bit at the gym, but it's kind of hard to do that, and at night, uh in particular on the weekend. You guys don't give a fuck about that, but that's and when you're watching like 10 minutes or so of it, you start to get some of these suggestions, and you just come across all types of random shit. Now, this was not necessarily completely random, but I saw a video by Andrew Wilson. And guys, I'm so pumped to do this video, by the way, if you can't tell. And I saw this video by Andrew Wilson saying, and the title was "In Defense of Pearl" from JustPearlyThings. Now, before I proceed, I've told you guys many, many times, and you guys are going to hear this throughout my entire reaction in this video, that, and I will readily say it, Andrew, we're both paleo conservatives, but there's things that viewpoints that he has that I think is rather emotional and not coming from a purely logical place. Again, that's just to say I don't completely agree with him on every little thing, as most people do not. But by and large, we agree on, I would say, 90% of things. When it comes to women on YouTube, and women in particular in the manosphere, which I would not consider myself a part of, or the red pill, I always caution you guys to ask yourself, especially men, what your motivation is or motivations are to watching that female's content. And Nick Fuentes talks about this all the time. 90% of the time, you are watching that video because you think she's hot. And, you like watching a hot girl say some semi decent shit that 99.99% of women would never utter because they're fucking dumb. So no, I'm kidding. But you wouldn't hear. I mean, you may hear it from, maybe it's like 20% of women who actually might have something decent to say. And so you're fucking shocked. And this is like a well-known thing. You'll see women in particular in the conservative movement who are not saying anything different or wildly different from your average, like, run-of-the-mill conservative, yet they skyrocket up the subscribers because you have all these fucking simps. Same with OnlyFans and shit like that. All these fucking simps tuning into their shit. So I always caution you guys in general, and it's the same thing with the red pill. And my main critique with women in the manosphere and the red pill is very simple. There's the saying, when women give advice to men about how to approach women, how to get women, there's the saying, do you ask the fish how to fish? And it's the same thing. It's the same concept with women in the red pill / manosphere, which is, do you really truly believe that a woman could ever possibly, on a deep level, understand what it's like to be a man? Now, granted, there are some women, because of their fathers, brothers, what have you, who do understand men more than most women, but they don't understand what it's like to be a man on a deep level. Whereas oppositely, I think that men actually can understand women on a deep level, but I don't think it can happen the other way around. So I say all that to say that, again, it's just a caution why you're watching that in the first place, and to ask yourself what your primary motivations are. And Fresh and Fit always talk about this. All of these, and they even said what I just said, all of these women are chameleons in the manosphere. Okay. So anyway, so I saw that video by Andrew Wilson, and I looked into it, and it looks like this girl called Roma Army, totally tatted up chick, made a critique video of Just Pearly Things. So we got a little cat on cat, and I just want to check it out and respond to it a little bit here. Very excited to respond to this video, quite frankly. And this isn't the one that I have, isn't even the one that Andrew reacted to, but I actually think that this one is better. So we'll go ahead and start it. Here we go.
It's on Just Pearly Things, Pearl Davis. She went on Piers Morgan and
okay. Okay, we have to start here. Okay. Mind you, this is not the first time I've seen Roma Army. Okay. I was not super familiar with her and her name, but I have seen her on YouTube before, because anytime you watch manosphere content or men's rights or red pill content, you're inevitably going to come across the couple of chameleon chicks in the space. And she was definitely one of them. And it's just hilarious right off the bat. Okay. First impressions. How in the fuck can you honestly look at this chick who is tatted from head to toe, is pierced? Okay. Anybody who watches red pill content knows that those are massive red flags when it comes to just visual things that you can look at with a chick. And statistically, I'm not going to pull up the studies and shit like that. Yes, you can clown on me if you want to on that, but statistically, and whatever else the fuck you want to add to it, is not a good predicator. Okay. It is not good. That is just main common knowledge within the red pill movement and manosphere is chicks with tattoos and piercings means trauma. Anyways, let's keep watching. So red flag right there. Just saying. Here we go. One more thing. Before we continue, you need to know that this is not me making a video like Andrew saying in defense of Pearl. I don't give a fuck about Pearl. I'm judging this video just right here, right now, pretty much more directed towards Roma. So I don't want you guys to have any misconceptions that I'm making this video in defense of Pearl. I don't give a fuck about Pearl.
About how she doesn't think that women should have the right to vote. And I reached out to her like before Christmas on Instagram and was like, hey, I don't agree with all of your views, but at that time I thought that we were in the same corner, championing for men. However the fuck you say that. Anyways, I'm dealing with a lot of anxiety right now.
Oh, fuck, bro. Who the fuck would make... That, guys, fellas, kings, that is like, she just word vomited what all men think all women are feeling at all times, that they're just dealing with all of this anxiety and fucking, no, I'm kidding. But her saying that is yet another red flag on top of the tattoos and all of this shit is just another fucking red flag. Now, I also want to point out her making a big issue of Pearl saying that she doesn't think women should have the right to vote, because later on in the video, she will say one of her critiques of Pearl will be that you should respect people's opinions. And, you shouldn't based off of differing of opinions, you should not, castricize somebody or anything like that, which you'll see she does herself. But that is so funny that she said that. So fucking funny.
I never got a response from her. And then after Christmas, a mutual friend agreed to reach out to her. And a couple months after that, I was on her YouTube and she was live. And I made a donation of about like $300. And not one single person
Fuck, girl, throw that my way. She is.
noticed me in the chat. She didn't notice me. The chat didn't notice me. And so I looked it up and I'm like, what does that mean? It means that the person blocked you. So she blocked me.
Oh, wow. Dude, all of this YouTube drama is so funny, bro. So funny, but she definitely looks triggered. When I paused it before, I wanted to make a point and I just remembered what that is. Keep in mind, guys, I don't have time to edit my videos, so it's just straight off the top. But she is Canadian, and that is definitely very important to point out because Roma's stance on this is exactly what I would expect from most Western women, but definitely a woman from more European countries like Canada, fucking England, places like that. It is spot on to what I would 9 times out of 10 think that they would have to say. And their take on Pearl saying something like women should not have the right to vote
long before we even had any contact. And now it makes sense because this woman isn't just like a conservative, she's an absolute fucking misogynist, okay?
Hard M-bomb. Fuck, Roma, damn. Fuck.
Conservatives don't think that their wives and their mothers and their sisters and their daughters just like shouldn't have the right to vote, okay?
Not true. Not true. I would say because I'm a conservative man myself, I would say 10, anywhere from 10 to 20% of conservatives would either openly say that they think that's a good idea, if not be open to that discussion. Because at the heart of conservatism is traditionalism, nuclear family, gender roles, things like that. And that is why, that is the crux to Roma's issue here and her massive triggering is that gender roles do exist. Men and women are not the same. And from her viewpoint, from Canada being, this equal, this egalitarian society and shit like that, it is very, very, very difficult for her to understand. So I completely disagree with her on that. That most conservatives would not be open to that kind of statement. If that were true, don't you think Pearl would be getting a shit ton more pushback for what she says? Don't you think Nick Fuentes would not be as popular as he is? Because that's a main. Now, I'm not putting those two together. I'm not saying Pearl and Nick are the exact same, but don't you think that a lot of people, or at the very least, they would not be as popular as they are if so many people disagreed with that? I would also say not just conservatives, but people in the red pill and the manosphere, I would say a good portion of them also agree with that. So what you're going to see as this video unfolds is Roma she basically, the only thing that makes her different from your average Western woman is she has a modicum of respect for men. That's it. That's the only difference. Okay. And therefore she thinks that she's this big men's rights, this big, male backer. Okay. But in reality, she's like every other chick. She's massively liberal. That's what you're going to see as this video unfolds, that really Roma is 99.9% the same. The only difference is she has a modicum of respect for men, which, okay, fair enough. I appreciate that. That's cool. But on everything else, she is pure woman.
I don't know. Actually, I do know where she gets off. What she's doing is like chameleoning into this idea that like
fuck you, Roma, you is too, girl. You is too. What the who the fuck who do you think you is? Come on now. Come on now. Says the girl who I think has had kids out of wedlock, who is not currently married, who I believe one of the videos I saw in the past, she, is not with her like gangbang. I don't know if he's a gangbanger, but fucking, not good ex-boyfriend. I mean, who the fuck is this chick kidding?
Conservative men have, which is that women should stay in the home. And there's nothing wrong.
Myron, and I'm sorry I'm pausing it so much, guys, but I don't want to get copyright stricken here. Because I want a lot of you guys to hear what I'm saying overall with this video. But Myron and Fresh on the Fresh and Fit. Now, what they will commonly say is that women, a big issue with Western women is that they all think they're special. And you can see that with her vantage point and why she thinks that, and you could say that about anybody, I suppose, but that is just a key point in all of this, that and why she feels the way she does and thinks the way she does is because she thinks she's special. She's unique. Now, I was saying that in reference to what I was saying before about, her boyfriend and I question even how she even got into this space in the first place. Like I said, my guess is that, she either had a father that she really adored and, had some issues with men, and therefore, now she's kind of slightly moved into this. But again, privilege is invisible to those who have said privilege. And again, we're seeing that right now.
Wrong with that ideology, because what liberal feminists seem to just forget is that as much as those men want their women in the home, those men are going to be working for the rest of their lives to provide for that home, for her, for the kids. So like there's a mutual symbiotic relationship going on there, and left liberal women always forget that. But see, what Pearl's doing is Pearl isn't.
You know what? Honestly, I would agree with that. I think that is a major issue with liberal women, is they allow it to be tilted too much in their favor, as opposed to realizing that there is at the very least a slight give and take. If not that the man's going to be the complete leader, complete and utter leader, there needs to be at the very least a slight give and take. Whereas liberal women, they tend to just allow it to go this far in their favor, and which is why their man ends up cucked and totally emasculated, and the relationship is fucked. So I do actually agree with her there slightly.
Really listening to men. She's taking that conservative ideology and thinking, oh, well, this must be what men want. They want women with no rights. And the reason why this fucking pisses me off so much is because this is my all the critiques I've been making of her are big ones, but here is a big one. Okay, I've pointed out that she has this very egalitarian mindset, this kind of equality mindset, and so it's very difficult for her to understand what Pearl is saying. But by and large, regardless of the rules that are put on the books, and this is a fundamental understanding in the manosphere, is that women, just by them being women, are given privileges and love and adoration and this kind of adoring treatment that men would not get. See, men need rights on the books, because otherwise, especially now, what you're seeing now, they're not getting any fucking special treatment. But women get that no matter what. So rights on the books by the laws of man or not, they are going to be treated with a certain reverence and specialness. And the fundamental misunderstanding that modern women have about men across the board, like your average man, is that men, a huge motivating factor in what men do is because of their love for women.
and they want to appear a certain way to women. They want to do things for women. How a masculine male can show said love and adoration. Men don't wake up in the morning and fucking, and this again, this is a big misunderstanding that women in the West have. Men don't wake up in the morning and say, I want to figure out how I can trample women's rights and fucking put them under my boot and fucking, this and that. Men don't do that. If there were no laws on the books for women, they would still be treated with certain reverence. And we saw that with how women were treated before the modern laws that exist. Now, I guarantee a chick like Roma thinks that women were completely and utterly just screwed over by men in any other era, because underneath it all, she's still a feminist. Any woman in the West, regardless of being in the manosphere or not, still have some feminism in them. It's unescapable. I guarantee a chick like her believes that women before the modern era were just totally mistreated and totally screwed and totally fucked. Okay. And that is the fundamental and primary misconception of the modern woman. And I'm actually going to do a video on this here soon. The reason why in the West, America in particular, you had this, there's the term American exceptionalism. There is this push for just amazingness, awesomeness, and accomplishment, and just fucking wicked cool stuff. Okay. But we've started to see that dwindle in, I would say, from the 70s onward. Why is that? Well, because of the rise of feminism. I know some of you guys are like, huh? Are we blaming another thing on feminism? Yes, we are. Because as I said a little bit ago, a primary motivating factor, if not, I would say a majority of the motivating factor for men doing what they do and accomplishing said task that they accomplish is due to women, their love and desire to impress women. And with the rise of feminism, men no longer see the fucking point, because you have women out here who don't appreciate true masculinity and how masculine men show their adoration and love. Women don't appreciate that now. And so a part of this incel and everything, just men's reaction to that is, and not being able, most men being, virgins and not having sex in the past year, 1 out of every 3 men hasn't had sex in the last year or two. These are real stats. What comes with that is men no longer giving a fuck and not wanting to be exceptional because it's too much to them. So anyways, I'm going to make a video on that. I'm not going to go too far into that. But again, that is a fundamental misunderstanding that most modern women have, and that she clearly has, that I don't think Pearl has as much, is that rights do not need to exist on the books for women to be treated with respect, adoration, and to have a comfortable life.
The reason why this fucking pisses me off so much is because feminists and people who are on the blogs and authors and writers, whatever the fucking magazines, they're always writing about the men's rights movement as like these misogynistic incels. And when we have people like
what do Fresh and Fit always say? Reality is sexist. We're not misogynist, but reality is sexist.
Pearl come into the light and say that women shouldn't have the right to vote, like, oh, it's so frustrating.
Like, oh, it's so fucking frustrating. Fuck, dude. Damn. She is too funny, bro. Too fucking funny. I am stunned that she has, well, I'm not. This woman has 1.56 million subscribers. I'm stunned by that. I am absolutely stunned by that. Okay. Now, more power to her. Fair enough. I don't want to hate on that too much, but Like, I'm trying to think of like what her like main subscriber base would be. I mean, yes, your everyday simp, but you know, anyways, I mean, it must just be fucking 1.56 million simps, you know, because more simps are being created every day, sadly.
I am going to tag in the description a video that I did, literally going through like her worst.
Guys, she's not even that like hot. You know, she has some decently large tatas, but that's about it. You know, the tattoos and the fucking piercings and the masculine behavior. She is very masculine. She is very masculine. Is I'm telling you, bro, that's why these women are able to act the way they continue to act the way they do, because so many of you fucks are such pussies and are not masculine. You guys are not men. And anyways,
tweets and like why I dislike her. It's really funny to me that I recorded that video and posted it like a few weeks before this even happened, because this just solidifies my opinion. And the thing that pisses me off about the internet is whenever, especially women, like as women, we get pinned up against each other quite a lot, right? Who's better, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you're literally doing that right now, Roma. You fucking disagreed with Pearl. You're the one who's bringing this fight on. Now you're the victim? Now you're the victim of that?
And so if I voice an opinion about like Pearl, then people will be like, oh, I don't fuck with you, I'm unsubscribing. Or they think that if I don't fuck with Pearl, that means that I want you guys then to just not fuck with Pearl. And I just think that that's so fucking bitchy and so immature. So like, it used to bother me, the fact that I would have an opinion about somebody and my followers would be like, oh, well, now I don't fuck with you. It doesn't really bother me anymore.
So her big point there is that that you should not give a fuck if somebody has a difference of opinion, except again, that's her big issue with Pearl, is that Pearl has a wildly different opinion from her. As I said at the beginning of the video, the onset of the video.
Because if you can't accept the fact that like people can have a difference in opinion, then like that's literally on you.
Then like that's literally on you, Roma. Fucking, she has such massive cotton mouth, she had to stop the fucking video.
One moment.
How cringe, bro. How fucking cringe.
I'm like dealing with so much anxiety, so I'm like vibrating, I got dry mouth.
Damn, 2 times she's mentioned that in this video. Holy fuck. This, I'm telling you guys, this chick is a ticking time bomb. I'm telling you. We have not seen the last of her issues on YouTube. Mark my words here, okay? We have not seen the last of Roma's her issues here.
Men's rights advocates like myself, like the Tin Men, like Matt, we work really, really, really fucking hard. Sorry, I had to pause it for a sec. I really thought I was gonna piss myself. Anyways.
Ugh. Damn, she is so masculine, dude. Fuck, way masculine.
People like the Tin Men, the Healthy Feminist, or Healthy Feminism, I think is her name on Instagram. I'll link all of these people below. Matt, myself, like, we work damn fucking hard to not just talk about men's rights of a level of, like, just the bare minimum, but we go into, like, statistics, why what these people are saying is harmful, what's the outcome.
Pearl doesn't do that? I mean, I feel like Pearl... merch, I think Pearl does that even more than I do. I mean, I really don't fucking give the stats because I just don't have enough time to do it. If you don't believe the stats that I point out, fuck it. But you know, anyways, fuck it.
And we don't do it with this like fuck women vibe. You know, I can come off a little like aggressive and a little out there.
See, again, that's her main issue. You know, when Pearl says that to her, because she is a low-key feminist and very liberal, when Pearl says that, it's this fuck you. But in reality, I guarantee you that Pearl, when Pearl says that, she, in her eyes, believes that women would have a better life and be happier on average if they didn't feel pressure to vote and to give a fuck about politics, to enter the workforce, shit like that. If they didn't feel pressure to do that, better yet, if they didn't even have the option to do that, they would be a lot happier. But see, she can't even see that possibility, that being a possible argument.
And I get that, so I understand why people perceive that I think that men can do no wrong, but I work really hard to show, the both side of things, and I don't think that men are perfect. They're not perfect. There's a lot of really scummy men in the world, just like there's a lot of really scummy women. So when people like Pearl come in and say stupid shit like that, it just makes it so much harder for the rest of us, because everybody else is going to label the men's rights movement and attach that image to people like her, to people like Andrew Tate. And honestly, it's so fucking frustrating, because men's rights matter so much. Like, okay, Pearl, you think that women shouldn't have the right to vote.
Man, I got to see her issue with Andrew Tate. Now, again, I'm not even the biggest fanboy of Andrew Tate. I definitely don't dislike him, but say what you will about him, but he has motivated a lot. Now, what direction that is, and if it's been bad motivation versus good motivation, because like the weeds of like, because when they talk about Andrew Tate, they'll commonly say that, young schoolboys will go to school and say that a woman should not be teaching them, that a woman shouldn't be above them, and that's just really toxic, shit like that. If you want to debate that, fuck that. Maybe I'll debate that later. I don't think that that's a bad thing, but say what you will, regardless of all that shit, he has motivated a lot of men to step it the fuck up. Okay. And if you're truly a men's right activist at the heart of it, that's what it needs to be, for men to step the fuck up, stop being simps and simping on your fucking channel and subsidizing your single lady lifestyle, and to man the fuck up.
You want to put women in these extreme gender boxes, but yet you say you advocate for fathers? How can that be when, if we're going back to a traditional time where women didn't even have the right to vote, well, men didn't have equal access to their children. They still don't, but we're breaking out of the societal ideology that men are just the providers. Men are saying, I want equal time with my...
See, I get it. I get it now. I get it. See, when she says men's rights, really what she means is pushing for this idea of equality. And I've already illustrated this earlier in the video, but Roma, men and women are not equal, girl. They're just not. Okay. They're not. And that is, again, the primary reason why you are so fucking triggered by Pearl saying that, because you cannot conceptualize that men and women are not in fact equal, that we are different. So when you say men's rights, what you mean is a pushing for equality, because you know that right now men and women are not equal. But see, a guy like me will hear you say that, because most people will say, well, that may, that's nice that you are trying to make it so that men are equal to women in Western society, in this fucking matriarchal society, this very womanist society. That's nice. But then a guy like me, a fucking jerk like me, comes up and says, no. It's a fool's errand that you're saying all that shit, because men and women are not the same. We're different. And it's just going to end in exactly what you see now, only it's going to be prolonged, because when we could have gotten out of this bullshit 20 years ago, we're still going because of people like this. And it's just going to take longer for this whole feminist, men and women are equal bullshit to completely crumble. So, yeah, that's a pipe dream, Roma. That's a pipe dream.
My children. So like, you're also going back to a time which we are currently trying to break out of still, where men can't be domestic violence victims. They can't be victims.
No, I would say 75% of the manosphere, men in the manosphere, and even women for that matter, a primary push is to go back to gender roles, and men to be men and women to be women. That's like a primary motivator in most of the red pill space. and manosphere space. I don't know fucking what manosphere space you're in, Roma, but
of rape. Like, these are ideologies that men's rights advocates fight against every single day and try to break down. And when somebody as fucking stupid as Pearl comes up here and says something as idiotic as that, like, I'm not even the biggest fan of Piers Morgan, okay, for like my own reasons, but like, it takes a special kind of somebody to go on his show and like make him not look like the bad guy for once. You know what I mean? So like, at the end of the day, I know that my community does not agree with such a disgusting blanket statement such as like women shouldn't have the right to vote, because equality means,
I bet you'd be surprised, Roma. I bet you'd be surprised.
Accepting equal responsibility. Men don't want to, aha, fuck you to women, go back to being oppressed. Men
See, again, Roma, we have that now. The equality that you are speaking of exists right now. You will never find, according to the law, a more equal time than what we have now, according to the law. But again, reality is sometimes and oftentimes different than the law. Okay. And we see that across the board in many other areas besides men and women and intersexual dynamics. Okay. So this whole concept, so you saying this equality thing and a move towards equal rights, the only thing on the books, the only kind of law and application of the law that is not completely 100% in favor, or excuse me, not in favor of, but equal in its application to men and women would be divorce courts, which is a big one. Granted, that's a big one. Maybe domestic violence. Okay, fair enough, which I'm sure that's part of what she's talking about. But I think domestic violence is improving. So domestic violence, divorce court, custody, shit like that. Okay. There might be one or two other big things, but that's it. But as far as but that's the application of the law. The actual law is, you could not write it more equal than what we currently have. You just couldn't. And the reason why the application of it, even though the laws are equal, the application of it is not, is because men and women, whether you believe in evolution or in God's creation, on a human level, on a DNA level, we understand our roles just like, animals do, what their deep down purpose is to be, and what their function is, to how it's supposed to be fulfilled out in the world.
Men want equality, and it shows everywhere. The feminists are just refusing to see it, and then other people who are claiming to speak for men's rights are just speaking about the exact opposite. Men's rights is about saying to men, look, it doesn't matter if you want to be hyper masculine, it doesn't matter if you're gay, it doesn't matter who you are, what you like, how you talk. It doesn't give anybody a right to look at you and be like, does that make you a real man? Like, it's about allowing men to step out of a gender box, okay? So if we're gonna tell women to get back in their gender box, then how the fuck can we sit here and
I guarantee she doesn't believe sex is a thing. I guarantee she believes that there's 100 different genders and you can wake up being whatever the fuck you want. I guarantee it.
Advocate for men to not be looked at as just dicks, piggy banks, providers, disciplinarians. Like,
good luck with that. Good luck with that. I mean, you're going to be battling a DNA level, a chromosomal. Good luck with that. It's hard to beat nature, guys. It's hard to beat nature.
It is so frustrating. Anyways, I am going to get prepared to make this video, so maybe I'll just like take a shower first, calm down, because this shit just really irritates.
Fuck, she is a total thought, and yeah, that's it, guys. I'm done. I can't watch anymore. The video's almost done anyways. There's like a minute left. I've seen what I need to see. The funny thing is, like I said, I had seen some content with her before, but I didn't really pay attention that much, but I remember there was a video where she was being interviewed by two black guys, um and they asked her a question.
As a men's rights advocate,
Oh
I've been
shit.
sent hundreds and hundreds of cheating videos over the years, and
Oh my God, her cotton mouth is fucking disgusting. But and they asked her some like question that was the more conservative, like, well, she got a lot of pushback on it, and it was basically from like a lot of conservatives, because there's a lot of conservatives in the manosphere and red pill space. That's where the fucking red pill comes from. And and at that time, I remember I was like, oh fuck. And her answer was very, she basically only apologized. I mean, she did, I don't know if she full blown apologized, but she was definitely towing the line. And, and the only reason why she did that is because she knows what space she's in. But I remember at the time thinking, fuck, she is a low-key libtard. The only difference, anyways, I can't find it. So anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. My closing thoughts on this are very simple. I've told you guys many times that when it comes to YouTube, when it comes to content in general, red pill, manosphere, you need to be or YouTube in general, you need to be very careful when you start watching some of these females content, and you need to ask yourself very quickly, and be very honest with yourself and ask yourself, why am I watching this? What is the primary reason that I'm watching this? Is it because I like looking at her? And you know what? If you ask yourself that question and that's the answer that you come up with, and you say, well, fuck it, I'm still fair enough. Okay, whatever. But you need to, at the very least, ask yourself that question. And I have said, you could go back to one of my first videos I ever made. I have said since day one, when I've done critiques of female content creators, that, Sydney Watson, you name it, that a majority of the subscribers that they have are from simp men. In the conservative space, it's like fucking 50-plus-year-old men who are married, who don't get any fucking pussy anymore, whatever, who, their wife doesn't know they have a YouTube account. They don't watch porn, but this is as close as they can get to it. And to me, that's just as bad. It's just as bad, because you're not dealing with the real issue, which is that you're not masculine. And, where somebody like Roma and myself, and I would, dare I say, most people in the red pill space would disagree, and manosphere would disagree with Roma is coming from a place where she has a modicum. She's different from most women in that she has a modicum of respect for men. She probably had a father or a brother that she really loves and adores. But everything else, she's like a woman. She's very liberal, and she is coming from a place where she believes in this very Western, very modern idea that men and women are equal, and we can be the same. And the actual application of how men and women operate in the world and what they gravitate towards, their likes, their dislikes, their behaviors, shit like that, that it can be equal somehow. And it's just simply not true. It's just simply not true. On so many levels, men and women are different. Physicality, temperament, hobbies, likes, dislikes. I mean, I remember when I was in college studying psychology in my undergrad, one of my favorite classes was, I can't remember what it was. I think it was literally called intersexual dynamics. And we learned it was intersexual dynamics, and then there was a class I had to take, I think it was brain development or something like that, cognitive psychology. And we learned about the differences in the female and male brain, the differences in development in the male and female brain, the differences in behaviors, likes, dislikes. This is like a well-known thing, especially if you are a Christian or not totally a libtard. Okay. This is a well-known thing. So, anyways, whereas a guy like me looks at that and says, that's a fool's errand. See, you're trying to push a 1,000-pound boulder up a hill that is never ending, because at the core, your whole theory is flawed, and it just doesn't hold up. So somebody like me is waiting for all of this to collapse, which it's moving towards, as more and more people realize that, yes, there is such a thing. Yes, we do have to have a hard line when it comes to what is a man, what is a woman. Yes, we do have to have a hard line for, by and large, things and roles we can attach to men and things and roles we can attach to women. Because if we don't, number one, it's just not accurate and it's not being honest. But two, the world becomes very chaotic and you have no answers for anything, because anything can be anything and everyone can be everyone. So I'm not surprised she has this idea. As for the whole, women not being able to vote thing, again, her whole issue stems from this idea that men and women can be equal. And I said this when I was reacting to the video, that a fundamental misunderstanding modern women have, that feminism inserts into their NPC minds, is that men wake up in the morning and go, how the fuck can I keep my boot on this woman's head and just put her down and keep her down and make her life, and how can I just assert my authority and my domain over her, which is just total nonsense. It's actually the opposite. Men wake up thinking about how they can appear in a positive light to a woman, how they are constantly trying to impress women and show their love and adoration in a masculine way. Now, men can't really be masculine nowadays. That's why men are struggling to get women, because they're trying to impress women in these fucking terrible ways in which women don't find attractive, because what women find attractive is true masculinity. But that line is blurred, so they don't know how to do that. But in the past, where that line wasn't blurred, men would assert their masculinity in their efforts to impress women, and voila, it would work. But now that line is blurred. So not only do men not wake up thinking how they can keep women down, it's the opposite. They wake up thinking how they can impress women. And as I said, I am going to be doing a video regarding one of the biggest downsides to feminism, in particular within the West, is the decline of exceptionalism. Because what you get with masculinity, one of the end products that you get from masculinity, is this exceptionalism. And a primary drive to that, and the crux of my disagreement with Roma, is the motivating factor of getting some pussy. And that is what she does not understand. I'm like acting like she's right here. What she does not understand. So, have you ever wondered, when you're surveying the landscape of America and the West, have you ever wondered, man, whatever happened to America? Whatever happened to the West? Man, the West used to be so fucking awesome, dude. It used to just be great. What happened to it? Man, we're just not, we just don't have the same achievement that we used to. We don't have the same exceptionalism that we used to. What happened to it? Well, a big reason why is because men no longer have the motivation, due to feminism and due to men, by and large, not being able to get pussy, and them knowing it. They are no longer motivated to achieve success and exceptionalism and greatness. All right, guys, like, comment, share, subscribe. Fuck, that was a good video. Really good video. Let's go. Like, comment, share, subscribe. If you guys want to donate to the channel, I'll put my Cash App link in the description. And if you guys want to subscribe to my Rumble account, I'll put that in the description too. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow. And facts are feelings because your feelings don't matter. Christ is king. Love you, king. See you guys next time. Peace.